Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 6 of the RLH Season 5 Championship. Tonight you join me with 13 other drivers around the city streets of Monaco, a track that is notorious for its danger. Now then, I'm just trying to get the stream up on my phone, but in the meantime, this track then, it's all going to be a question of survival. Just like Baku earlier this season, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we won't have as many DNFs as Baku, but you never know. So we're just going to get straight into the qualifying session, and it looks like it's going to be Foxy Dude leading us out. I did a lap earlier, and I managed to punch in a 1 minute 12.8, which on a pad for the first time in months on this game, I felt was alright. Considering I usually play on the wheel, but anyway, I'm sure we're going to see that time absolutely smashed out of the park now, maybe by Foxy Dude himself, but I think pad players may even have an advantage around this track just because they can get that full lock so much easier by pushing the stick all the way to the left or right. And as you can see, through Lowe's hairpin, that is going to be extremely useful, but also in other sections of the track where you need to go full lock, such as Mirabeau and Portier, as we've just gone through now. Here you need to be careful just getting as close to that left barrier as possible, but of course we'll do our onboard lap in just a second. F3 then is having a bit of a glitch because Short has just set a 59.2, and I don't think that's possible around this track, so that's unfortunate for those dudes in F3. But anyway, we're going to ride on board with Foxy Dude now, heading towards turn 1 then. We'll see a lot of action here, only going up to gear 7 into Sandavot, heavy braking, getting as close to the barriers on the exit as possible, then heading through Beau Rivage just at the top of the hill, which leads into Massenet. Massenet, you're going to scrub those front tyres as much as possible, then into Casino, you've got to keep it far left. Then on the run towards Mirabeau, you've got to move right and try and avoid that bump, maybe a bit of a front right lockup depending if they're running ABS or not. Then straight down to Lowe's hairpin, also known as the Grand Hotel hairpin, and also Station. Then into Mirabeau, as well as Portier, which leads out onto the tunnel. This is where you need to be careful. Fortunately, there's no ballast setups here, so it's quite hard to lose the rear end. Just getting that turn in roughly good. And timing. Then it's going to be through the Nouvelle chicane, getting as close to that left barrier as possible, cutting as much as possible without being invalidated. Through Tabac then into Louis Chiron, which leads to the swimming pool section. Very easy to just lose the back end in that transfer from the weight. Then into Rascasse and through Anthony Nogue. This is where you lose the most time, just trying to keep it as fast as possible. It looks like Foxy Dude is going to be on the soft tyres tonight as he beats my lap by 3.5 seconds. So clearly I do not have the pace, and that doesn't look all too good for you at Midnight. I think he might have had a bit of an issue. Is there damage to the front of that Tour also? Yes, there is. So he's clearly had a bit of an issue at the Nouvelle chicane. Here comes Verstappen. That under the tunnel, that McLaren does look a lot like a McLaren Honda. I've just realised how stupid I sound by saying that, actually, seeing as it is a McLaren. But we're just going to ignore that was ever said and continue as we go through piscine or swimming pool. Spaghetti Chips has left the session, and that is not good news. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's going to be one of those evenings then where connection is going to be quite important. Look, we can't even change to midnight. VSR Marquez then setting third lap. Rob Forbes just squeezing ahead of him. But LR Foxy Dude is currently holding provisional pole position. Rafa has rejoined. But the thing is, Spaghetti Chips, the lobby host, so hopefully that hasn't affected the race in too great a manner. That pit entrance is a bit awkward around here. It's very tight around these circuits, remember. And that turn-in, you're going to be going slower than the cars behind you, so they'll have to be careful on the exit during the pit window of the race. But lap 1 this evening is going to be interesting as the drivers head towards Sandavot. I reckon we might see a bit of a pile-up if we see a pile-up anywhere. It's very easy to cause an M25 traffic jam around this track, just due to the nature that if your car goes sideways, there's only really one space to go through, sometimes none. That's the Nouvelle chicane is pretty much the only area where A spin's not going to really block other drivers, and that is going to plague our session tonight. I think that, yeah, F3 is having issues, but it's always with the barriers here. There's going to be lots of damage from the drivers as we see UWAT Midnight moving over. Interestingly enough, we only see 13 drivers out on track tonight. Everyone's in their own car apart from Rob Thorpe, Crazy Crumpet and Spaghetti Chips. Rob Thorpe and Leon, Crazy Crumpet and Spaghetti Chips, and the championship leader Rafa with his teammate Samster. Other than that, everyone's in there. Actually, no, Foxy Dude and King David. But yeah, quite a few just individual cars. The Toro Rosso and Mercedes, the Alfa Romeo and the Haas, as well as the McLaren. So only about half of the cars having full teams, unfortunately, this evening. But better that than nothing. Sims Danger decided not to race due to the fact that, ironically, he thought he'd be a bit of a danger on track. But anyway, we'll continue here because Samster is really going for it. Only in ERS mode 4 though, which is quite interesting. Also, we have got the F18 tumble dryer in the background. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue, too much of an issue even. Can't even speak properly this evening. Just know that tomorrow I have to go back to school. But there goes Samster with a 1 minute 10.0. So not quite to get into those 1 minute 9s. He's also on the softs. I'm going to get the tyres. I've already got the tyres up. What am I talking about? I'll get the best tyres up though, because that's always more interesting. This is at UWAT Midnight then, on a hot lap, heading through Beau Rivage and towards Massenet. It's just the front tyre scrubbing there is going to be quite a problem. Rafa having connection issues. That's not good news though for the championship leader. So hopefully for him that doesn't persist. Same with Spaghetti Chips. Speaking of the championship actually, let's have a quick run through. Rafa is leading the championship with 4 podiums, 2 wins and a total of 83 points. Then UWAT Midnight's in second with 66 points, 11 points behind him is Verstappen. 11 points behind Verstappen is VSL Marquez, who is on 44 points. 43 points is what Foxy Dude and Lewis are both on. Spaghetti Chips is on 41 points. Oppignan's on, Sem's on 33 points, Oppignan's on 19 points, Samster's on 18, King David's on 14, Rob is on 13, Dropier on 12, Simsy on 9, Nick on 6, Callis on 3, and Brumadini on 2, the rest of the drivers having no points. That's Crazy Crumpet, Leon and Shamasi. Shamasi not racing tonight, but Leon and Crazy Crumpet are, so they will have a good chance of getting points as long as they keep themselves on the track and just don't come in that bottom 3. But yeah, if Rafa's having connection issues, that's going to have severe title implications. Just having a look now, will that cost him the championship? Yes, it will. If he doesn't finish and Midnight comes first, maybe even second, Midnight will win. Although I don't think third would be enough. Let me have a quick look. No, third wouldn't be enough. Second would put him 1 point ahead of Rafa, I believe. Yeah, that's quite interesting. So there's got quite a few battles going on then. Here is Midnight. He's done quite a good lap so far. He's actually on an in lap, but there's yellow flags in sectors 1 and 2. That might just be traffic letting the other drivers, so I think so. But it looks like everyone is on track apart from Spaghetti Chips. Is he actually in the session is the real question. I'm not quite sure, but there goes Rafa through, I don't know the names of these turns. Through, oh my goodness, he's already at the Lowe's Hairpin. Yeah, it's Casino and Mirabeau. And through Mirabeau. It's quite interesting actually, because at the weekend my parents were in Monaco, so I managed to get Monaco Grand Prix keyring, which looks rather nice. But of course, King David's not actually on a hot lap, so let's find someone who is, and I'm not sure if anyone is. This is Callis actually. He's on a hot lap again. It looks like he might be going for a second run, but you don't want to wear those softs too much. But I think his ERS showed loss, because around Monaco ERS management isn't too big of a problem, simply because of the fact it hardly runs out. But UWAT Midnight is just a few hundredths of a second behind Foxy, so it is close between those two. Sen's not too far off either. He's just about 3/10 behind. And no one else in the 1 minute 9s, but that could all change. There's the yellow flags in Sector 2. Not entirely sure what has caused that, and that looked like maybe a bit of a corner cut for this Rich Energy Haas. I'm not sure. So they'll have to be wary of that. But here comes Callis across the line. Is going to be a 1 minute 11.7. It sounds like he lifted off slightly too early there. I think, yeah, he's out of fuel. I think he ran out of fuel just at the end there, which is unfortunate for him. But here comes Spaghetti Chips. He's actually here, so I think he's about to start his hot lap. Yes, he is. He's currently on an out lap. Let's find someone who's on a hot lap. This is Rafa, just ahead of Verstappen. And those are two title rivals, so that's going to be rather interesting. There's still yellow flags in Sector 1, but I think that's just from traffic letting other drivers through. There seems to be quite a big pace disparity around the track tonight. Of course, it's all about... Oh, and that... I was about to say, it's all about how close to the barriers you can get, and it seems like Rafa's just cut it a bit too close, and he's kissed the barrier, and that sent him round at the Nouvelle Chicane, and Callis is out of the session. There's yellow flags in Sectors 1 2. That's a lot of carbon fibre there, and I think that's just from the car in front of Crazy Crumpet. Yeah, that's the Haas of Callis. He's retired. He doesn't seem like he's going to be going for another lap then. And yeah, there was a bit of front wing on the track for him, which is obviously not ideal. You know, so Spaghetti Chips might be coming back into the pits. Maybe the medium's not quite the best idea in the end, it looks like, if he's only on ERS mode 1, or he might be going for a second lap. I'm not entirely sure. No, he's going to go for it on the mediums. That must be his second out lap. I'm not sure. Well, he hasn't done an actual lap yet. But, oh no, yeah, that's a 1 minute 11.2. Sorry, that was weird. He's the only driver to set a lap on mediums. Of course, Crazy Crumpet on the hards. And I don't think that went too well for Rafa. Has he got damage? I do think... Oh, Rafa's in the pits then. That does make sense. Let's have a look at Leon. Both of the ILRT drivers in the pits. And yeah, that second salvo of the laps is coming to an end. This is Verstappen, though. He's out of ERS and he's out of fuel, and that doesn't sound all too good. And I reckon he'll be coming into the pits. Front right lockup here. Lockups are always prominent, and he's touched the barrier, but he's gone for another lap. Does he think the ERS can last that long? Will his fuel last that long? We've still got 5 minutes left, remember. No, he's gone down to ERS mode 0. I think he was just finishing his lap there, because he's currently 6th with a 1 minute 10.4. 1 minute 4 would be rather excellent, to be honest. He really would have to struggle to set in that kind of lap time. But here comes Spag across towards the line. He's got a 1 minute 11.2. Now it's going to be a 1 minute 10.5. So he's faster than 3 drivers on the soft tyres. Oh, but he's hit the barrier there at Sandoval, and that's not ideal. And he's nearly taken out Samster. He must have had the shock of his life there, because it's not good to get taken out in the qualifying session when there's still 5 minutes remaining. So fortunately there was no contact, but Rafa is on an out lap, and Leon's still in the pits. Maybe he's having connection issues, I'm not entirely sure. But luckily this time I did remember my glass of water, but it probably won't last to the end of this race. There's quite nice acoustics in this game, of course. That's only when you're off-board. On the on-board it sounds pretty much the same. And that's a bit of a corner cut there for Rafa, so that's clearly his out lap. Now we'll ride on board with him with no HUD. So he's just going to take it easy. No, he's not. He's going to hit the barrier. That's not ideal through the Raskas section. But along the straight now into Sandoval, we'll ride on board with no heads-up display. So heavy braking into Sandoval. Try and fling it through there, maximise that traction. It's all about momentum around Monaco. Now up towards Beau Rivage, which leads straight into Massenet, then Casino, then we always touch the barrier there into Mirabeau Ut, down towards Lowe's hairpin. It's very easy to lock up, as we see there, and also not get the line right. That's where we might see damage. Then into Mirabeau Bar, which leads towards Portier. Then along the straight through the tunnel. This is where the driver will have no radio communication, which is simulated in the F1 game, which is quite interesting actually. So if they have an important message, they have to wait until they're past that section to listen to it. Already through the Nouvelle Chicane then, in towards Tabac, which is turn 12. He's hit the barrier again. This is not ideal. Flinging it through there into Piscine, then he's cut it, and I think he's invalidated from that contact. I don't know though. Yeah, he's gone into the pits. He must have invalidated. 3 minutes left. That might be just enough time to go on another lap if he fixes that front wing. But here comes Leon then. Rafa back in the pits as we just saw. But Leon's about to start his hot lap as he nearly hits Foxy Dude on the pit exit. It'd be cool if we could move around the bits on the screen, but unfortunately I don't think that's possible. So yeah, here comes Leon, all a bit squiggly on the exit of Casino there, but he's managed to keep it facing the right direction. He hasn't hit the barrier. These barriers are the driver's worst nightmare around Monaco, and we will certainly see some crashes this evening. There's yellow flags in Sector 2. Not entirely sure what the cause of that is, but it's still quite close to the top between Foxy Dude and You Want Midnight. You Want Midnight then, it looks like he's going to settle with that 1 minute 9.3, whereas Foxy Dude still wants to improve. He's still got the danger of this Red Bull, who's probably going to be quite fast, as well as the other drivers. Some might be going out on softs. We'll have a look. Yes, Spags is going out on the softs. He's the only driver changing compound. Along the straight then, here comes Leon, and it's only going to be fourth with a 1 minute 9.9. That is not too bad, actually. I don't know why I said only. There's yellow flags in all sectors. Oh, I don't know why that is, but this is Rob Forbes. Through this section here. In the tunnel, we've still got a bit of echo going on in there. It's pretty cool. Let's have a look if anything has been said in the Discord. I don't think so. Callis has retired on track, and that will mean a qualifying ban for next race, I believe. That is the penalty for retiring on track. Vincent Marquez saying that if he doesn't score any points, he might as well leave. That would be annoying though, if he did, because we want as many drivers as possible. So Marquez, if you're watching, please don't leave. There's only 30 drivers. It's the more drivers the merrier, even if you do crash, as long as you don't crash into other people. That's when we have problems. But Rob Forbes, very close. He's only 9,000ths of a second off Samster with that time, which is a 1 minute 10.0. So it was all getting very heated at the top. Across the line then, Rafa's about to start his time, and it's going to be a 1 minute 8.9 from Foxy Dude. That is some spectacular speed around here. Very, very fast. Yeah, 1 minute 8 even. He's the only driver so far to have got into the 1 minute 8. Everyone is out on track now. There's yellow flags in Sector 2, which is always going to be an issue caused by that. And I don't think King David was able to start his next lap. I think the time ran out actually before he was able to, which is unfortunate for him. But yeah, this is Rafa. He's the only driver yet to set a time. But here he comes towards... Oh, what am I doing? Here we go. That looks nice actually, having just the thing there. So maybe we'll have that for parts of the race. It's quite nice just not having all of the screen clutter sometimes. And up to the line then. Let's get everything up. Okay, so that's him finished. That was an invalidated lap time. Crazy Crumbit just heading through the piscine section now. Or simple. There's a bit of front wing damage. That might have been the cause of Rafa's invalidation. So the championship leader will be starting up. No, that's Samster actually. You can see a trail of Ferrari carbon fibre all across the track. Foxy Dude in the pits. Everyone going into the pits. It doesn't seem like anyone was able to pull it together that lap. And that leaves us with the qualifying order. So that is rather interesting. This is going to be a spicy race. Just see the last of the drivers get put in their garages now. Of course, the Williams garage is the last. Just waiting on that final Williams to be put in the garage before we can finish the session. Come on, Spag. Tell him to hurry up. He's telling Marquez not to leave in the chat, so that's always useful. but this is the man on pole, Foxy Dude. The only driver to get into the 1 minute 8. So that is some really, really good pace from him. And I think that Williams is finally in the garage. Yeah, so that through Louis Chiron, of course that's what the Bugatti Chiron is named after, into swimming pool. It's very easy just to lose the back end and crash at the swimming pool chicane. But anyway, let's go through the qualifying order. It's going to be Foxy Dude, LR Foxy Dude 101 on pole position, followed by You at Midnight, Verstappen RB33, Sem 12 2004, LRT Leon, Samsung F1, Rob Forbes, King David 1, Spaghetti Chips, VSR Marquez, Carlos 95, RLH, Crazy Crumpet, and RLT Rafa. First time, easy. So it's all quite spread out actually. The top 11 separated by nearly 3 seconds. The top 9 separated by around 1.5 seconds. And just the top 5 separated by a second. So yeah, the times are quite spread out this evening. But yeah, Carlos retired on track from running out of fuel. We saw that earlier. But anyway, let's get ready for the race, because that is what you've all come to see. Probably. And it's going to be rain! Uh-oh. Please say somebody finishes. Or a wet race. Now, that is going to throw a real spanner into the works. We haven't really experienced much rain in the RLH F1 Season 5 Championship. To have it at Monaco is going to be quite the challenge for these drivers. So, everything we saw in qualifying, that's going to be thrown out the window, as Invisible finds this quite funny. And to be honest, that 13 drivers starting is really going to dwindle. Now the drivers are just finalising their setups. There's not much they can do to change it to wet, as we get ready to go racing in the rain here in Monaco. This is going to be spectacular, as we're already starting the formation lap. The green flags are being waved, and let's get everything ready. Sandavot then in the rain. This is going to be interesting. It's only intermediate conditions. I don't know if it's going to dry up or not. Hopefully if anyone does crash they can let us know, but of course they won't be able to get that message. But yeah, it's looking like the sky's pretty grey. There's a fair amount of standing water on track, and around Monaco any understeer is going to equal a day with destiny, or a day with the barriers. That cold hard steel, relentless on the weak carbon fibre of the front wings. I say weak, they are quite strong, but at the speeds they hit the barriers, it's never ideal. The good thing about Monaco is it's easy to save ERS on, not so easy to save fuel, but you never need to go up to gear 8. It's just that kind of track where the straights are so short. Also, under the tunnel there's obviously no rain, so they're going to have to be careful through that little right hand kink which the tunnel is. They're going to have to be careful because those inters are really bad in the dries. I know from experience, as some of you who've played online lobbies with me can vouch for. It's going to be easy to get oversteer and potentially crash there, and we don't want a blockage in the tunnel because that's hard to see for one, and also it'd mean a driver out. But also, throughout the rest of the track, that oversteer is going to be one thing to manage. So the drivers will probably have put all of their differentials as low as possible in preparation. We've had quite a lot of contact on that lap. I think that's Leon, Samson, and Rob Forbes have all had a bit of a brush with each other. Anyway, 39 laps to go here in Monaco. Let's get ready. The green flags are being waved. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights are out, and away we go. It's going to be a good start for the Racing Point of Foxy Dude, but Verstappen's going to send one down the inside of You at Midnight into Sandavot, and side by side there's also Leon and Samson as well as down the grid. As we go through Beau Rivage, this is going to be rather interesting. They're going to have to straighten out here into Massenet. It's going to be very risky to go side by side. You can't really overtake through there, especially in the rain. and it's going to be quite the train, I think, this evening. Of course, no DRS. Leon and Sam have both overtaken Samsa and Rob. You at Midnight North also not having a great start. I think everyone's back into the positions they started. Oh no, the game is just beginning to catch up. Oh, and down the inside goes King David. Oh, he's had a contact though. He's hit the Mercedes of VSR Marquez. King David then, he's not losing any. He's not gaining any positions there. He's lost them to Spaghetti Chips as well as VSR Marquez. Going down the inside into Lowe's Hairpin is never a good idea. Now having a look down the order, are we going to see any risky moves into the Nouvelle Chicane? I don't think we are. And there's contact, and into Crazy Crumpet goes RLT Rapper, losing his whole front wing, and I think he's retiring from the session after that incident. Oh, and was that a car off to the side there? It might well have been as we go through PC, and this is going to be dangerous. There is a lot of carnage here on lap 1. The spray really inhibiting the driver's ability to see ahead, but it is a real train as we head towards Sandavot for lap 2 of 39 here, and it looks like Spaghetti Chips are having a bit of an incident. I don't know, someone's losing positions. That's Rob Bob going into the pit lane. Here we go then into Sandavot for the next lap. Will we see any moves? I don't think so. It's always a bit risky in the rain. Heading into Beau Rivage then, it's still going to stay, they're still going to stay behind each other. It's just a bit too risky, but Verstappen is right up the gearbox of Foxy Dude for the lead of the race. Already at Mirabeau odds at the top there, and I think that's RLT Leon. He's trying to take a move on You at Midnight. He's not going to be able to do it though. He's just a bit too far back, and it's a bit too tight there, and that's VSR Marquez who's just hit the back of Sansa. Is that damage? I don't think so. He might have just gotten away with that one. But Sansa's got a 3-second time penalty. In fact, the time penalties are running rife in this race. Can't tell who's got what on when. I'm sure when there's a bit of a lull, we'll be able to have a look. But at least this rain is evening out the playing field, even though the drivers are on equal performance cars. Verstappen nearly going into the back of Foxy. This is just so close as we head in to back. There, he's trying to make a move into Chiron, but he's not able to as we go through the swimming pool chicane. He's going to have to stay behind. There really is nowhere to overtake around Monaco, and that's really being demonstrated here by these drivers. Although Leon did have a look down the inside of Midnight, he just wasn't able to get his nose in, and that's something we'll be seeing a lot of tonight. As Verstappen sets the fast lap with a 1:25.9, so he's clearly got the pace on Foxy Dude when it comes to the wets. I think Verstappen's on the pad as well, unless he's upgraded to wheel, I'm not sure. I say upgraded, he's changed. Verstappen, Spaghetti Chips then in the pits. He's clearly had some damage as well, as this is Verstappen right up the chuff of this racing point. He's taken a peek down the inside, but he's not able to do it into the first Massenet. But Samsa and VSR Marquez having a bit of a tussle here. Samsa appears to have overtaken Marquez, although Marquez has still gained 3 positions, as has Crazy Crumpet gained 4 since the start of this race, which is quite good for those 2 drivers. They're going to be quite chuffed at that. All they have to do is take it to the end of the race without crashing. And that is actually, especially in these wet conditions, that is going to be quite a big ask of them. Midnight getting a 3-second time penalty as well. In the background then, it's kind of hard to see what's going on. The times are beginning to flatten out a bit. There's quite a lot to keep on top of though. Although there's no real moves, it's all going to come down to strategy tonight, and that's all going to get flattened out by the weather conditions. And I don't think there's going to be much of an overcut or undercut. Although it all depends on how long this rain lasts and whether it will go to the end of the race. But Foxy has set the fastest lap so far with a 1:24.6. Oh, there's a bit of a brush with the barrier there from RLT Leon, from Midnight even. He's managed to keep it going forwards. As someone just retired from the session, that was Rafa. Got to keep the overseer careful through that next section. I can't always forget the name. And there's front wing flying off one of the cars. I couldn't quite see what that is. Oh, and there's a bit of a traffic jam going through Lowe's Hairpin. Look at that. The driver's nose to exhaust here. It is just so close. These drivers are all very closely matched. Though Dirty 8 is going to be quite an issue for them. At a track where downforce means everything. into the Nouvelle chicane then, which leads out towards the back. It's all about the exit and brushing that barrier. And I say that, Samster's run deep into the Nouvelle chicane and he's had a crash and he's lost his whole front wing. And that is bad news for the Ferrari driver, who's dropped all the way down the order. And that is a tragedy for the Ferrari team, with already one DNF, another in the barrier. Although I think lots of drivers are going to end up in the barrier tonight. It's all about consistency for these drivers just to keep it out of the barriers. But that's Marquez in the pit, so he clearly has sustained some damage at some point. And this leaves Verstappen to try and overtake the race leader, Foxy Dude, as there's yellow flags in sector 3. I'm not quite sure why that is. I think that's Samster as well. Yeah, he's the wrong way round at Raskas. That is not good for him. Now let's hop back up the order then, because it's still close between Foxy Dude and Verstappen as we go through Lowe's hairpin. Will there be contact? Just about avoiding it, trying to keep it nice and steady on the exit. Yeah, but the drivers, as you can see tonight, are really struggling to make these overtakes. And it is all quite close. Yellow flags, and that's Samster out of the session. So it really has not been a good weekend there for the Ferrari team. Already having both drivers DNF, and we're only on lap 5. That is really not ideal. Samster leaving the session, as I'm sure any of us would had that happened to us. But let's keep an eye out, because it looks like Leon is still closing up on midnight. Yellow flags again in sector 2, and that's VSR Marquez out of the session, and I'm not sure why that has happened. We'll head through Beau Rivage with Foxy Dude. Luckily, we haven't had a safety car yet, but every single driver who's going to finish now is going to finish in the points. ILR2 Rafa, he's DNF. So you want Midnight, the next in line for the championship. Can he take it this evening? Now, let's see if I think Marquez's car has been cleared. We can't see it anywhere, and the yellow flags have stopped being waved. So it looks like that car has been cleared then. 39 laps there. It's quite the distance to go around a track this unforgiving. There's hardly any runoff, because if you go deep, you've got to try and spin yourself around in somewhere very, very narrow. I mean, most pit lanes aren't even this wide at some parts of this track. And that's what we should call this track, the Pit Lane Grand Prix in Monaco. Of course, the pit lane entrance is almost as tight as the Lowe's hairpin itself. In fact, I accidentally went into reverse going through the Lowe's hairpin earlier. Oh, and Verstappen has had an issue, and he's lost his front wing, and he's all the way down to 5th. We look away for a second, and that's what happens around Monaco. It is so unpredictable, and that's going to mean he's going to have to pit right now. King David getting a 3... they're all getting 3-second time penalties. Who am I kidding? But yeah, that is not ideal for someone challenging for the lead of the race, and King David, he dropped down the order for a second there. I'm not entirely sure what the cause of that is. That might have just been Crazy Crumpet though. I don't know, maybe he had a bit of a spin. Crazy Crumpet also in the pits though, so he's clearly had not had the greatest lap. Oh my gosh, that was a voice crack and a half. But yeah, it's clearly not been the greatest lap for the Williams team. Both of their drivers nearly at the bottom, although Spaghetti Chips has set the fastest lap with a 1:23.6. And that puts them about 12 seconds. 14 seconds even. What is my maths today? Clearly not ready for school tomorrow. But that puts them 13 seconds off the qualifying team time. Oh my goodness, I'm just not functioning properly today, am I? Verstappen is close behind Spaghetti Chips, who is also close behind Rob Forbes. So I reckon we'll keep an eye on this mid-track battle. We can get rid of the position change. The bottom 4, in fact, have all stopped, and there's only been one stop between them. And that's mostly been for front wing, but Spaghetti Chips getting very aggressive on Rob Forbes into the Nouvelle chicane. He's tapped his rear end, and he's not going to be able to make an overtake, but Rob Forbes has run it deep. He's cut the corner there at the Nouvelle chicane and cut Spaghetti Chips off. He will be fuming about that as we go through to back. Verstappen could try and make a move here through Chiron into swimming pool. It doesn't look like he's going to go on the aggressive side there in his McLaren. But it is all getting quite heated down here. Crazy Crumpet also with a time penalty. He's 5 seconds off this little pack, which is a bit down the older. Sem, on the other hand, is really catching up to Foxy Dude. He's only 1 second. That's down from 2 seconds it was earlier. We're already nearly a quarter of the way through the race, actually. And I think we've still got to see a lot of action yet to come as we go through the left-hander, which I always forget the name of. But I'll get that up now. It is Massenet. How could I forget? That's one of the most famous corners in racing. Or so I'm making up. Spaghetti Chips then going into the Lowe's hairpin. He still just can't find anywhere past Rob. I think Spag does have the pace there. He just can't get past that roadblock of a Red Bull. Quite a lot of alliteration and similes coming out tonight. Not similes, but a lot of alliteration as we go to the left-hand side of Rob into the Nouvelle chicane. Big lock up there for the Williams, but he's cut Rob off. And is he going to go into the barrier? No, Rob is going to back off just about. Now that leaves Red Bull between Spaghetti Chips and Verstappen, and that is going to slow Verstappen down. Now Spaghetti Chips needs to make the most of this and pull away from Verstappen in his McLaren, as Robert has had a bit of a tap with the barrier on the exit of the swimming pool chicane into Raskas. It's going to be I think Verstappen went for the switchback there, but he just couldn't get his nose in because there was some rear tyres in the way. He tapped with his front wing. Nothing too bad though. I don't think he received any damage, which is lucky for him. But Spaghetti Chips is already pulling away from Rob. He's already gained about a second from the Red Bull. And that is just a second more. Verstappen is going to have to gain when he gets past this Red Bull as well. But the rain is relentless, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon from what we can see. Alright then, Verstappen. It is close between him and Rob, but I don't think it's close enough. Now Crazy Crump is actually also gaining on these two drivers, so Robert does Verstappen will be really hoping Rob can get out of his way. Of course they are on the same lap, so it is perfectly fair for Rob to defend his position. Will he be able to enter the Nouvelle chicane? Yes he will, as Foxy Dudes. No he won't, he's run wide, and that's given Verstappen the open door he needed to get past. Into the back then, Rob is going to have to back off there towards Chiron. Verstappen already needs to gain 3.5 seconds on Spag. Spag has really made the most of that gap he got. Into Raskas then, and Verstappen has finally got that position, although he's run wide. Rob saw the door open, but he just wasn't close enough to go through said door. Unfortunately for him, but Crazy Crumpet is now just 2.5 seconds off the back of the Red Bull, and he'll be looking to make a move as my dog comes in. Speaking of my dog though, he did eat a remote earlier, which is annoying, and it's the only good remote we've got left, unfortunately, as there's a cold breeze wafting into this room. But yeah, the rain just doesn't want to stop. Midnight there with the 3-second time penalty, but it's Leon who's closest to any other driver, although Callis is just behind King David, the 2Ks. As we go through Chiron into swimming pool, it looks like Leon is gaining a fair amount on the sister team, the Toro Rosso. Heading through Raskas lane, it's all about the exit onto the straight. No, but Midnight is going to go into the pits. Has he got damage, or does he just need to change his tyres? I'm not entirely sure. But here is Callis, and that does explain why all the drivers decide to qualify on the soft tyres. Of course, they must have known that it was going to be wet this evening. I did think we might have a wet race tonight, and yes we have. We've only had 3 DNFs so far, so that's not too bad, as we've gone past a quarter of the way through the race. Already on lap 11 of 39, and it's actually been quite an action-packed race for Monaco, hasn't it? King David will now be seeing a Rich Energy Haas car in the black and gold livery filling his wing mirrors, and I don't think he's going to be enjoying the sight of that. Callis would be within DRS range if we had DRS, but unfortunately he hasn't, and that does really limit the overtaking opportunities around this track. Oh, and that's a bit of a moment there for Callis. He was just a bit too eager on the power on the exit of Massenet, Mirabeau even, but he managed to keep it nice and tidy. and get into loads of hairpin without any massive issues. As we go through the tunnel here then, if he can get a distant tie, he might be able to try and gain some time into the Nouvelle chicane. It's all about the exit of this chicane as well. Oh, when he's hit the barrier though, and those rear tyres, they're always slightly, they're a bit wider than the front. So you've always got to account for them when turning. That's a 5-second penalty for corner cutting, even though he lost about 5 seconds to King David from that, which is unfortunate for him. And that means You Want Midnight is right up his gearbox through the swimming pool chicane. There's so many penalties. We're just going to have to forget about them and look at them at the end of the race. It'll provide a nice surprise anyway. You Want Midnight though, he has managed to capitalise on Callis's mistake, and he'll be trying to make a move here as we go along the straight into Sander Vort. There's just 1.5 tenths of a second. Callis is really blocking the inside line though into Sander Vort, and You Want Midnight just isn't able to make a move there. It's a back off along the straight, otherwise it's going to go straight into the back of that Haas. Heading through towards Massenet now. Can he make the move? He's going to go for the switchback. It looks like the Haas is going to block him again, and he just can't get through. This is good defending, although he's hit the back of Callis, and he nearly sent him into the barrier. I don't know if that's going to be damage for the Haas, though. Yeah, he's got front right end plate damage, and that lack of downforce is going to have an exacerbated effect because of the characteristics of Monaco, especially with the wet conditions. Although it does look like it's stopped raining. I said a few laps ago that the rain seems to be relentless, but in fact it has stopped. And we can see the drivers pit for potentially hard tyres. I'm not sure if they'll make it to the end of this track though. They're the third softest compound available, of course. It's like C1 to C5. I don't even know how the tyres work in F1 anymore. Spaghetti chips. Going down the inside into Tabac, and Callis is just going to let him through. He's got that damage now. He's unable to defend from the Williams. But yeah, the rain has stopped, and that's going to trigger a set of pit stops, I believe. So in preparation for that, let's have a look at the tyres the drivers are going to go on. You Want Midnight, though, he just pitted for a new set of tyres, so he's going to be heading back into the pits any moment now. It doesn't look like the track's quite dry enough to stop yet. Look, you can still see spray coming off of those tyres. Callis thinks it's time. He'll probably go on, yeah, he's going to go onto the hards there, though, with a front wing change. That's probably a good call from him. Maybe a lap too early, we'll have to wait and see. It all depends on how quickly Monaco circuit dries out. To Sander Vort goes Rob Forbes, though. He's got a fair amount of penalties to his name, so that's not ideal. Crazy Crumpet is going into the pit. He thinks it's he's going on to another set of intermediates. That is an interesting choice of strategy considering it's dried off. He's changing his front wing, obviously, but I'm not sure if changing to the inters was a good idea. Maybe he forgot to change the tyre selection. But yeah, he is on the intermediate tyres now. And I think it might be time. No, the drivers still think it's time to go out, to stick to the intermediate tyres. It doesn't seem to be dry enough yet then. This is Sen. He's currently in second, I believe. Yes, he is. He's not really gaining on losing on Foxadude. He's in a solid position for a podium, but that all depends. But it's whether he can defend from Leon or not, because those top three are a pit stop ahead of fourth, King David. So they've pretty much, if they don't crash, they'll have podiums in the bag. You Want Midnight's not had the greatest race though, especially considering that he's in consideration for the championship. One thing to consider is one of the reasons that they're not going onto the slick tyres yet though, is around Monaco you want to have which tyre has the most grip. Not try and perform any undercut, it's all about just keeping out of the barriers. Of course that's a recurring theme with street circuits. Callis is being overtaken by Crazy Crumpet though, so it seems like the hard tyres not ideal quite yet. As we go through Chiron to the next turn, oh there's a big slide there for the Haas. He's kept out of the barrel, so yeah, I think it was a bit premature for him to go on to the slick tyres. And Verstappen has made it past Spaghetti Chips though. Has Spag got damage? Yeah, he has got front left end plate. Has Verstappen got damage? He's got front left end plate as well. It seems like the front left end plate is sustaining quite a bit of hits this evening. Soon it will be time to go on to those slick tyres. Is it quite yet though? It doesn't look like it because the spray is still coming off and DRS has not been enabled as yet. Of course we'll know when it's time to pit when the race director enables DRS again. But it looks like the standing water is all but gone. It'll be a bit wobbly on those first couple of laps out, but I think it might be time. As you can see they're sliding a bit on these inters as well. which are relatively fresh for Verstappen as he clips the barrier on the left there. He's already had that bit of damage done, so I don't think he can get it damaged anymore. I don't think it warrants a pit stop yet. But these drivers still refusing to pit. I'm not sure, maybe they're experiencing rain and I'm not, but it looks like the track is all but dry. So it's rather interesting. There is spray coming off the cars though, so maybe there's something I'm missing out on. But I don't know. It's quite interesting, isn't it? As we approach the halfway point of the race, do let me know your predictions for the podiums right now. That'd be interesting. And if you've got any questions for when they finish on the podium, I'd also like to know that as well. But there we go. Foxy Dude finally pitting, as is Sem. Will Leon follow him? Yes, he does. And it looks like Mercedes is in the background there. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, the track is definitely dry enough. And I think everyone's going to be going, oh, there's mediums there for Sem and mediums for Leon. But it's all going to be mediums. Can those mediums make it 25 laps? It should be possible, as Sem has not had a great pit stop there. Behind him is Leon right at the back there. Very close. So I don't think it's been the greatest pit stop for the Alfa Romeo team, as we have the rev limiter glitch there for Leon, unfortunately, which means that we won't be riding on board with them anymore. Medium tyres there for King David. You at Midnight being jumped in the overtaking King David in the pits. I'm not quite sure if that's meant to happen or not. There is Verstappen. He's having a front wing change at the same time. It looked like he was serving a time penalty there. Oh, I don't know what's going on in that pit stop. Everyone's going on to the mediums then. It's just Callis that's going to be on the hards. Crazy Crumpet. Let's see how much he sides, because oh, he's hit the barrier there. So the understeer being caused by these slick tyres, obviously not ideal. He's missing the right end plate, and that might have been from that contact with the barrier just a second ago. But yeah, it was definitely time to pit for the dry tyres, and now we can start speeding up as we head towards the checkered flag. After that pit stop phase, it's all going to be quite interesting. Crazy Crumpet, the last driver to pit. And yeah, surprisingly, it's already lap 16. We haven't really had any DNFs since the beginning of the race. Crazy Crumpet, they're also deciding to go on to the hards, which is interesting. I'm not sure how many pits he's had though, because he does seem to be... He's had 3 stops, and maybe the hards wasn't the greatest idea. Maybe he's planning on not having that front wing damaged anymore. Maybe he's run out of other tyres. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm not sure if you have to change tyres if you go into the pits in F1. I might be wrong on that front though. RLH Leon is the closest driver to any other person, and that is he's closest to Sem, actually. So I'm just going to try and get this comment up on my phone. If it wants to work, I'm not quite sure, but look at that. Leon is very close to the back of that Alfa Romeo, and that's a lapped car. I think Verstappen's back in the pits. He's got more front wing damage, it looks like. Or maybe he doesn't think those tyres can go to the end. He's going on to another set of mediums. I think Rafa just decided to retire, to be honest. Or he had a bit of a crash. Oh yeah, and that one, I think, into the Nouvelle Chicane, which we've just gone past. He just went straight on and lost his complete front wing. I think that's when he decided to retire. He just knew he wouldn't be able to get back to the pits. I think he also had a spin just before getting to the pits. Leon with the rev glitch, which was really annoying. Callis overtaking Rob Forbes. Rob Forbes also having front wing change as well then. And we can see the lap times tumble as Foxy Dude sets a 1:13.9, but only just as You Want Midnight is the wrong way round at the Nouvelle Chicane. And that's major front wing damage for him. You can just see to the right there, Nick. That was the front wing of one of those Ferraris. I believe it was Rafa. But yeah, You Want Midnight, that is not ideal for him. He's missing a large chunk of that front right. And he was the wrong way around the Nouvelle Chicane. And that's cost him a lot of time. And he'll come out probably behind Spaghetti Chips, but still ahead of Verstappen. Lots of issues then for the drivers to try and keep it. You can still see a bit of standing water on the track as there's a few droplets coming off those front tyres of Leon. Sorry about making you ride on board with him there. That sounded absolutely horrible. So it works from that camera angle, but it doesn't work from the onboard, I see. Spaghetti Chips there with a 1:12.9, so he just beat Foxy Dude's lap by 1 second and 1.1 second and 1,000th of a second. 1 and 1,000th of a second. Oh yeah, you crashed out first. Oh yeah. I'm just making sure I wasn't confusing you with Sam still Rapper. That's why my description was a bit vague, but you never know. Yeah, it's unfortunate what happened. Foxy there with a 125. So these lap times really are tumbling as the track dries out. As we hit halfway through the Grand Prix, the battle for the lead is pretty much dominated by Foxy. I don't think any of these two are going to be able to catch up to him. He's 4.5 seconds clear of Sem, which is a fair gap when it comes to Formula 1. But second place is yet to be decided. These two have been battling pretty much all race long for that second step. We'll have to wait and see where they finish then. This race so far has been a long slog. We've still got a while to go. And I think Spaghetti Chips just set the exact same lap as Foxy Dude. What was Foxy Dude's last lap? That was a 1:12.55 at 9. Spaghetti Chips just set a 1:12.559. That's just a bit interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's strange. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, why am I doing that? Chris comes with another time penalty. Yeah, we won't be able to ride on board with Leon. Sem setting the fastest lap there with a 1:12.3, I think. And there's a laps car in the way. That's Callis, who might be a bit of an issue towards Leon. I don't think he's lost too much time. Maybe a couple tenths to Sem, but nothing major because Sem had to get past him as well, which I think he did just after Sandevot. Leon had a bit of a lock up into Mirabeau, so there's a bit of a lock up into Lowe's hairpin as well. Not using ABS around this track is always very difficult, and you can see pretty much every turn he's having a bit of a lock up there. Unfortunately, the rev glitch is going to be ever present for Leon. We'll wait out to get one for the Nouvelle chicane before bumping up 2 points. Yellow flag says Crazy Crumpet is out of the session in Sector 2. Unfortunate for him. It's not been the greatest race. He's had quite a lot of front wing changes, and I think it was unfortunately inevitable for him to crash. But Sem, though, he's gaining at a rate of knots on Foxy Dude. He might even be in contention for the lead. Or maybe I spoke too soon about Foxy Dude winning. I don't know. But the time this race will end is going to be quite late, due to the fact that first we're delayed by Spaghetti Chips' PS4 deciding to crash, followed by a wet start which slows down the drives by around 10 seconds a lap. So yeah, we're only just getting to the halfway. We've only just gone past the halfway point. But anyway, I'm going to be right back. Sem now not really looking able to close up that gap. But Rob Thorpe is right up the gearbox of Callis. So that's rather interesting. We might be able to see a move here from the Red Bull any moment now, to be honest. There's just 6 tenths between them. Verstappen is also close to Spaghetti Chips, having had that pit stop. I think Verstappen's actually had one more pit stop than... No, they both had the same amount of stops, I believe. Yeah, they have 3 stops for everyone who hasn't had 1 stop. So no one's actually had 2 stops. So you've either crashed with the barrier too many times, or you haven't crashed with it enough. I suppose that's how I'm going to look at it anyway. But yeah, Rob Forber is quite close. This is the battle for 8. So all the drivers have to do is finish to get points, remember. So it's not really a race more than it is endurance at this point, just to make it to that checker flag. Sorry about that. Oh, he's not. That's not gone well. That has not gone well, and he's got past. He got past Callis into Mirabeau, but I wouldn't call that a very orthodox overtake. I don't think you're meant to teleport through the other driver. I don't think it resulted in damage for either of them, surprisingly enough. But yeah, I don't think that was a very orthodox method for overtaking there from Rob. He is pulling away from Callis. I think Callis has just not had the greatest of races, and he will have a qualifying ban. As clearly stated in the rules, to be fair. We had it in Baku. I wasn't able to join you in Spain though, unfortunately, as much as I would have liked to. But I'm back here for Monaco, and I'll be here for I'll hopefully be here for Canada, because that's always quite an interesting race. But yeah, that is Rob. He's actually going into the pit, so he must have sustained damage from that issue. As we join on board with Foxy Dude, he's just got damage, and that could throw a spanner into the works for the lead of the race for him. That is not ideal for the race either. That damage is going to slow him down. This could give Sem the opportunity he needs to to take the lead. Leon has yellow damage. Ooh. So he must be missing an M plate as well. Can't quite tell. He's going too fast through there. No, he's just sustained yellow damage. That's not great for him. I take it you're watching a share play from him, Future? I don't know. But yeah, that is interesting news as well. So that's probably why he was just dropping off so much from Sem. Now Sem is gaining quite fast on Foxy Dude, as Foxy Dude laps. Don't know who that was actually. Yeah, he laps for Sappen. So yeah, the field is being spread out quite a lot. We've got 15 laps to go though. So anything can happen, remember. This is RLH anyway. We all know this kind of thing can happen. Verstappen is gaining on Spaghetti Chips. There's about a second gap to them. Yeah, I reckon if Leon should be fine for a podium. In fact, he's a pit stop ahead of King David. Yeah. As you said, just yellow damage. He won't lose 25 seconds in 15 laps from yellow damage. So even if he needs to pit, actually, he should be fine to go to the end of the race. I think those mediums should go to the end. I've just noticed though, Foxy Dude's actually on these soft tyres. So he will be pitting again. I'm not sure if the medium drivers will be pitting again. That is interesting. I'm going to have a quick look at the fastest lap. That's held by Sem, so he'll be getting an extra point at the end of the race, won't he? And it's been quite a varied race for drivers. Foxy Dude has stayed on the front since the beginning of the race. If he can get fastest lap, he will be able to take a Grand Slam victory here in Monaco. If he wins as well, but it's not looking like... Well, actually, is Foxy Dude on the mediums? Because on board he's right using the softs as Verstappen goes into the pits. But the telemetry saying he's on the medium. So I don't know what to believe, to be honest. Verstappen's obviously going for another stint on the mediums, due to the fact that I think that's a front wing change that was necessitated by an issue. And you can see Sem in the background in his Alfa Romeo. He is closing up. We just catch him at the back of the frame, but I don't think he's catching quite enough. Even with his damage, Foxy Dude is still keeping a good gap between himself and the Alfa Romeo. Just can he do that for the rest of the race? That is the real question. It is going to be tight between these two drivers. I can tell you that now. We have still got a long way to go. But Sem he's closing that gap down in the middle sectors. But I think with lower damage, there might even be less downforce. And I'm not sure if it's affecting the airflow of the car, because it seems like in the faster sector, which is the middle bit after pretty much after the tunnel, that kind of section, that's all high speed, and that seems to be where Foxy Dude is extending the gap, whereas Sem is really closing it down through the technical sectors. In fact, no, he's not. He's losing it in the technical sectors from what I can see. I don't know, it's going to be close, I can tell you that much. But yeah, I think this is the area where Foxy Dude increases the gap the most. I don't know though, Sem might be starting to get a distant toe. I don't think he is though. He might be just a bit too far behind to get that toe as we go through the Nouvelle Chicane with this Alfa Romeo. But yeah, it's actually been quite an interesting Grand Prix so far. And I know I keep saying it, but it's not over, and we can still see anything happen. Any of these top three could crash. Bit of a lock up there from Sem. He wants to keep these tyres to the end of the race, I presume. So that's not going to be ideal, but he is beginning to close up, and this could be a win. But closing up is one thing. Overtaking around Monaco is quite another. How did I mess that up? But Sem, he is closing. He does need to make the overtake, and that is where it's hardest around Monaco to get past the other car. Closing is easy, but it's going to be difficult. So Verstappen sets the fast lap with a 1 minute 12.3 it looks like. But yeah, we've only had 4 DNFs around Monaco from the 13 drivers. It's not too bad a track record, if you know what I mean. The Sem is beginning to close down a bit. He's gaining in some sectors, but losing in others. I think he might be being a bit more cautious, which is maybe why he doesn't have any damage and Foxy Dude does. It might all be down to setup, because setup does play a big part about pace in this game. But you can see along the straight, he's beginning to close up now. He will eventually be within DRS range, but before we see any of that happen, we need to watch Verstappen try and get past Callis, because Callis obviously is a pit stop behind. I think Verstappen's just had a bit of issues with his front wing, and he might, yeah, you have the DRS along the straight into Sander Vot, but he's had a really poor exit, and he just hasn't been able to get the speed down to try and overtake Callis, which means he might even have to wait until the next lap. He is gaining a fair amount though. As we head towards Mirabeau, it's not going to be enough, although he is carrying a lot more speed than that Haas. They both, looks like they have complete front wings as we head into Sander Vot, not even Sander Vot, into Massenet. He wasn't able to make a move through Lowe's hairpin. He might be able to get a good exit, but into Massenet, bang. It's not enough. It's just really one car through this little sector here. You really struggle to make overtakes. Of course, Verstappen is on a softer compound of tyres, which are 11 laps fresher and younger. So into the Nouvelle Chicane, he's going to go around the outside, which will become the inside, which will then become the outside again. Towards the back, he's going to have a poor exit, and it's not going to be enough to take the move. But up at the top, Foxy Dude and Sem, that gap is closing rapidly into the swimming pool chicane then. Can Verstappen make a move, or is he going to have to wait until after Raskas, until he goes along the straight? He's going to go for a switchback here at Raskas, try and get the maximum exit possible. He's not going to be able to get it down enough as we go along the straight. We'll ride on board with him towards Sander Vot. He might be able to make a move here. He's going to move to the outside. Will he get pressed out? No, he won't. He's going to overtake Callis. Can he avoid the barrier? He only just managed that. That was too close for comfort for the McLaren there, but we can hop back up to the top then, because I don't think Callis is going to be making a move back anytime soon. That's an excellent overtake there from Verstappen though, and that's 40 seconds to spaghetti chips in front of him. So unless something disastrous happens to the Williams, I think that's where he's going to finish, or to any car in front of the Williams actually. Verstappen, he's got 2.5 second gap to Ewart Midnight, so you never know, he might be able to try and make a move here soon as well. But Sem is going to be within DRS range as we head along the straight now towards Sander Vot on lap 30, going into 31 of 39. He will have the DRS, but he's not going to be able to close them enough. He dropped back down to outside DRS range through Raskas. Of course, the detection zone is a bit before Raskas, and that's why he had it before dropping out of a second range. into Mirabeau then. Not quite able to find anywhere through here. Remember, time penalties are also going to have a big impact on the result of the race as well. So this is only the provisional order before those time penalties are added, and any time penalties from incidents are added as well. But fortunately, I think most of the incidents that have been caused tonight have been self-inflicted, if you know what I mean. They haven't had any external influence from other drivers. It's just been unfortunate because that is the nature of this track located on the Azure coast. Spaghetti Chips though is actually losing time for you at midnight, so that's not ideal for him. That port water does look lovely, even though it is only a 2D plane. Here comes Sen then. He is closing. He's 8 tenths. He will have DRS again as we go into Rascasse. Is it enough? He's closer this time. He's only 7 tenths away, but it's not enough. You need to be within about half a second to even have a chance of making a move into Saint-Devote around this track. Just because the pit straight is so short, even though it is the longest straight on the track. Which is unfortunate for Sem. So Sem, fortunately, has got that damage, and Sem is faster. But it all depends on whether Foxy can defend or not. That is what it's all going to boil down to for the lead of this race. I don't think Leon's going to have a chance of taking first or second now. With his damage, he's dropping off a bit. He's 8 seconds behind with 7 laps to go. Or 7.5 laps, to be honest. I don't think he's going to be able to close it enough. But you never know. With this battle raging on up front, he might be able to gain a second a lap. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. Into Nouvelle Chicane, Sem is still gaining. Actually, no, it's not quite obvious because he's had a poor exit out of the Nouvelle Chicane towards Tabac. Although, heading towards Chiron, he's 6 tenths behind. It's all going to be about the exit from the final turn. Through Rascasse we go then. Careful not to tap that rear tyre on the inside barrier, because I've done that too many times before. Now, half a second off. Sem having a poor exit, and it's all about the exit because you can't reach top speed. It's all about the acceleration you can get out of the final turn, and he just hasn't got the acceleration as we go through Beau Rivage towards Massenet. Sem's now 4.5 tenths behind. I don't know if he's going to be able to overtake Foxy Dude. Time is running out. He's still got a few laps left, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Well, I don't know. It might be enough. Let me know in the comments down below. Although, I'm just thinking time penalties. This is for on-track position. Maybe he has less time penalties and he's just trying to keep his tyres safe. And, of course, you want to try and avoid contact as much as possible. Because if you go for an overtake, it might end up in contact, and that is not ideal when it comes to a long race. Especially when you're in the final stages, because that really undoes all your hard work. Although, if they do have contact, they're pretty much fine. Maybe the podiums will stay the same. Did I say 3 rounds left? I'm sorry about that. Yeah, there are 6 laps left. I apologise for that mistake, but time is running out. He's closer. It's only 3 tenths as we head through Beau Rivage into Massenet. He's just not able to get that position. He's 2 tenths off. We might even be able to see an overtake into Mirabeau. Not quite. Through loads of hairpin, there's really no room for an overtake there. He might try and get a switch back. No, he's actually been very narrow on the exit. That's interesting from him, and that's cost him about 3 tenths of a second. So yeah, as you can see by the gaps to the leader, they should be fine. The podium will stay the same if they have a bit of contact, but you never know. It is all about those time penalties. That's what it's all going to come down to at the end. I can't remember if Sem or Foxy did have penalties though. It's interesting. Five laps to go then. Around the streets of Monte Carlo in Monaco. It's been quite an interesting race. We had rain for the first half. It's been dry for the second half though. And these tyres are beginning to wear, aren't they? They're already 20 laps old. And that is going to have some impact on at the end of the race, I believe. I'm just having a look at something. Nice. I'll keep it like that then. Sorry, I didn't realise that the prompts would go just by clicking triangle. In the old game, you'd have to, if you wanted, you had to keep the prompts to see that little white bar on the left there. If you wanted to switch between drivers, Verstappen goes for another pit. So he's not had the greatest day out here in Monaco, has he? As that's quite a big lock up there for Sem into the Nouvelle chicane. That's the 5th stop for Verstappen. Rob is also on 5 stops though. What they need to do is take it to the end though, because they will be getting points if they can make it there. In fact, they've completed 75% of the race anyway, so they should be getting points. I believe that if you complete 75% of the race, you still get points. Of course, Lando Norris at the weekend, he retired on the final lap. If only he had been lapped slightly before then, before his engine conked out, maybe he would have finished in a better position. But unfortunately for him, he got overtaken by everyone because he just didn't manage to make it one more lap. Unless I'm wrong, I don't know, I'm tired. Sem is close behind Foxy Dude though, with 3.5 laps to go. Foxy Dude might just be able to hold on to this. Oh, and there's a bit of contact there. Foxy Dude really bogged down on the exit of the Lowe's hairpin. But I think Foxy Dude might have this win in the bag just through sheer defence, which is really good driving from him then, if he can do that with his front wing damage, which you saw him receive earlier. And I think Rob's about to get lapped for a second time just ahead of us. But if Sem can manage, if Foxy Dude even can manage to win the race by defending for what seems to have been about, which will have been roughly 10 laps, that would be very impressive. He's had quite a good race then, Foxy Dude. He's led from start to finish. He hasn't dropped a position apart from potentially even in pit lane, but even then he might have stayed in top because I think everyone pitted around the same lap. There's a 3-second time penalty there for someone who isn't looking properly. Yeah, I'll get the tyres up now for you. 21 for the top 3. There's the yellow flags in sector 2. And that is Callis, I think, having a bit of an issue. Some of these drivers, they're going on to the... yeah, I think that must have been Callis. He's got a 5-second penalty. That must have been in the Nouvelle chicane. But look at this. Spaghetti Shits, Verstappen and Rob all going on to the soft tyres. They might be gunning for fastest lap, which is currently held by Rob. And that's an extra point. And every championship point matters. What the heck? It says, oh, there we go, Verstappen takes it anyway with a 1:11.9, but it said Verstappen actually had a faster lap anyway. So that was interesting. But yeah, Verstappen's taken the fastest lap so far. Let's get back to the race then. That was a 1:11.9, so very good pace there from him. The cars are obviously lighter at the end of the race, and it looks like Sem's saving up his ERS, whereas Foxy Dude is using most of it. He's only got 20% left. Now Sem has got a lot to play with in these closing couple of laps now. 2 laps to go. Foxy Dude is winning the race, but can he hold on to it is the question everyone is asking. It is going to be very close as we go through Beau Rivage into Mirabeau. Just 2 tenths in between the top 2. But it's not going to be enough for Sem. He's really struggling to get past Foxy Dude. Monaco living up to its name in being the hardest track to overtake in F1. Look at this though, Sem just can't find his way past the racing points. And with 1.5 laps to go, it's looking increasingly likely Foxy Dude is going to win. RLH Leon's going to have a solid podium though, even though he does have yellow front wing damage. Oh, and there's a big lock up there from Sem, and that is not ideal. He's got a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. And that is pretty much all hopes gone then for a win in Monte Carlo for Sem, unless Foxy Dude manages to crash on the final lap. Just Sem overcooked it into the Nouvelle chicane, and it looks like those tyres are really showing their wear now. Lots of lockups as there's blue flags from Rob Forbes. He might even get in the way of Sem, I don't know, as we go into Saint-Devant, and it looks like that Red Bull. Oh, Spaghetti Chips taking the fast lap there with a 1:11. That Red Bull, oh no, he's going to move out of the way. Very nice there from Rob. He hasn't really got anything to lose by doing that. It's very kind of him just to let these couple of drivers through. Sem now has half a lap. Can he take the win here in Monte Carlo, or will it be LR Foxy Dude 101? Keep tuned with us, because it is the final lap. Remember, if you have any questions for the podium finishers, do let me know. We'll have to wait for them to finish though, because you never know. Yeah, but do let me know down below, and I'll invite them to the party and ask them for you if you want me to. Other than that though, here comes Sem. Is he able to overtake Foxy Dude? It doesn't look like it. It's 0.8 of a second between them, and I'm not sure it's going to be enough. It can't be. There's no way Sem can win, and it looks like, after what has been an excellent race through Raskas for the last time this evening, goes LR Foxy Dude 101 to take the win here in Monaco. We'll have to keep our celebrations muted because the penalties have yet to come in, but Sem is going to finish second. RLH Leon then is next. He's about to finish in third place to take the bottom step on the podium there. Now it's going to be King David. He's defending from... No, he's not. That's Verstappen, whom he has already lapped. He's going through to back then for the final time. I think Verstappen and Callis actually have yet to finish. But Foxy Dude has taken the win here in Monaco for round 6 of the RLH Season 5 Formula 1 Championship. What a race it has been tonight. We've had rain, we've had dry conditions, we've had overtakes, we've had crashes. You want Midnight next across the line, but it will be Callis, the last one, taking the checkered flag as he goes through Raskas for the final time. Out of the final corner then, up towards the line. He's doing a little wiggle. He's finished 8th there. Everyone who's finished has got a point, and across the line he comes to round off what has been quite a fantastic Grand Prix. A lot of issues there for some of the drivers. Lots of pit stops, the usual, what you expect around Monaco. But these are the podium finishers. It's going to be Foxy Dude on the top, flanked by Sem and RLH Leon. There we go. Foxy Dude will be chuffed with that win. Of course, it is very hard to win around Monaco. Sem, you're clearly chuffed about that. I'll be inviting you to the party, so don't forget to let the other lads, the top 3, know so that we can interview them. And remember, if you are getting interviewed, to put your mic to share. But anyway, let's go through the finishing order. It's raining again in Monte Carlo. That would have been interesting had it come a few laps earlier. But it's going to be LR Foxy Dude 101 on the top step, followed by Sem 12 2004. Then RLH Leon, King David 1. You want Midnight, Spaghetti Chips, Verstappen RB 33, Callis 95, Rob Forbes, the DNS Work, RLH Crazy Crumpet, VSL Marquez, Samsung F1, and RLRT Rafa. Some drivers not even making it around the first few laps. In fact, that's where we have most DNS. Everyone else managed to find a rhythm and take it to the end. But what a race that has been. And let's invite the top 3 to the party. See which ones I have as friends as well. Alright then. It appears like I have none of them as friends. I thought I had Foxy Dude as a friend at least. Never mind, let's just invite them the long way then. Let's invite Foxy Dude. His name's so long. Come on, mate. Takes way too long for this. I think he's appearing offline. No, that's the other one. I invited the wrong Foxy Dude. That is not... That would have been bad if I'd invited him. That could have really put... really affected stuff. Let's invite Sem next. Sem 12. We've got to do the underscore and everything. God, it takes so long typing stuff in here. I'll talk to you in just a second, Foxy Dude. I'm just inviting everyone. And then we can talk. They won't be able to hear you on stream otherwise. RLT. Come on, where's RLT Leon? There we go. Let's invite Leon then. Okay. How did you feel about that win then, Foxy Dude?
Honestly, in the wet first couple of laps, the pace wasn't really great. I think I was holding up something like a 6-car train.
Yeah, it looked like that.
And yeah, I think Midnight made a mistake behind me, and I just got like a little gap, and then I just started pushing, turned up the engine, and once I went onto dries, pace was good before I got front wing damage, but just managed to defend from Sem.
Yeah, you did very well at defending. Sam, I invited you. I don't know why you're not going to join. But yeah, you did a good job at defending from Sem. It was something like 10 laps. Just give me a sec. They won't be able to hear you while I accept Sem's friend request. Oh, sending me a close friend request, are you? But yeah, come on, Sem. Just join the party, mate. But yeah, sorry about this. It's not been the greatest race in terms of technicality, has it? We've had quite a few issues with everything, really. But yeah, so is that all you have to say about the race, or?
I mean, there wasn't really a lot more to it. It wasn't very interesting on my end.
No,
don't know if it was on yours.
It was quite interesting, although it did kind of pan out over the last few laps. Sem attacking you was quite interesting. And speaking of Sem, how was that race for you, Sem?
Yeah, a little bit scary in the rain. Almost crashed a few times. Braking was really difficult, and in the dries, it's much better. A little bit push at the end. Got the penalty, came second. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it was very hard. Yeah, you just locked up at the Nouvelle chicane, and that meant you weren't able to push, but Foxy did well to defend from you, and around Monaco it's just so hard to overtake, so it was unfortunate you couldn't get past him, but I think you're pretty happy with the result, aren't you?
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to say?
No.
I'm good.
Alright then, I'm not sure Leon's going to join, so hey ho. Let's end the stream there then. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the race. It has been quite an interesting one around Monaco. I've been Barless, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.